Let's talk about why does a magical innovation, iPhone, behaves like a seasonal crop to Apple. Steve Jobs brought this magical innovation more than 10 years ago. And during this time, it kept evolving. Why is Apple required to do so? Why can't Apple keep selling that great magical innovation and keep making profit? What is the underlying dynamics to that? Let's look into this interesting reality. So when Apple brought the iPhone in 2007, it created a hype, but you see that within less than a year, its sale came down to zero. Then iPhone had to be upgraded. Apple had to release a better version, that is 3G version. As a result, sale picked up, but it didn't stay at the peak. It kept falling. Then Apple was compelled to release next better version. And since then, Apple has been doing the same thing. Since then, Apple has been in the race of meeting the deadline of releasing the better version. Otherwise, its crop start losing its revenue generation capability in the market. Question is, why does it happen? Let's come to the right graph. It's a kind of a busy graph, but here you see, if you look into this one, then you see an x-axis is time, in y-axis it is the willingness to pay. When a product or innovation is released in the market, its willingness to pay happens to be experienced two kinds of forces. One is uplifting force, one is pushing it down force. Uplifting force has four sub-forces. Number one is the complementary goods. Second is the network effect. Third is progress in addressing information and experience gap. And fourth one is the standards and infrastructure. With the progression of time, it happens to be the innovation starts benefiting from those four areas. As a result, it experiences an upward push, but it also experiences downward push, very strong downward push that comes from the competition. Competition is going to replicate. Competition is going to imitate. Competition is going to bring innovative features. Competition even is going to bring a substitution to it. As a result, the product is under two pressures. One is uplifting pressure, one is the pushing down pressure. It happens to be resultant force more or less is always towards the downward. And that keeps reducing the attractiveness of the product in the market. Then innovator is compelled to bring a better version. And the better version experiences the same kind of forces. As a result, the innovator, like Apple, is compelled to keep doing research, bringing ideas, and adding those ideas into their product, either in the form of new features or improving existing features, so that they succeed to keep releasing successive better versions, often at lower cost. And that some people may say, okay, successive better versions of iPhone often cost more, but look into the perceived utility. Perceived utility from each dollar is increasingly getting higher. And that is the reason Apple is succeeding to sell it to increasingly larger number of customers. This is the vital characteristics of the effect of the market on innovation. That means in order to succeed in this competitive market, a great innovation needs to be empowered to keep growing so that successive better versions could be released at lower cost. And that is a critical requirement for innovation to succeed in the market. In absence of this vital capability, no great idea succeeds. And it is not only for Apple's iPhone, it is applicable for all great innovations, what we are used to or accustomed to it. And likely in the future, the same thing will keep happening. So what we need to do, we need to pay attention in creating the capacity of producing the flow of knowledge, flow of ideas, so that we succeed in releasing better versions at lower cost. Otherwise, a great idea would end up often in a disappointing experience.